In the world of high achievers and top-tier personal brands, there is an unwritten rule. Success isn't just about how you arrive, it's about how you leave. Observe A-list celebrities or major CEOs. When a contract ends, even if it falls short of expectations, they usually choose to close with grace. A word of gratitude for their partners. A professional press release emphasizing the values achieved. Why? Because in elite circles, showing appreciation for opportunities received is the currency that secures future handshakes. It is how they maintain grace even in defeat. However, as we observe Meghan Markle's journey over recent years, a completely different pattern begins to emerge. A pattern not of grace, but of grievance. Whether it be with thousand-year-old institutions like the British royal family, streaming giants like Netflix and Spotify, or even long-standing close friends, we see a recurring script. Every ending never happens with polite silence. Instead, it is consistently accompanied by a narrative that Meghan was restricted, misunderstood, or mistreated by the very organizations and individuals who once handed her the largest platforms on the planet. This leads us to a systemic question. Why? After receiving the most powerful resources and privileges that billions dream of, is the ultimate reaction so often criticism instead of gratitude? Today, we won't judge based on emotion. We will together dissect the contradictions between the reality of investment and the narrative of grievance. When one conflict happens, it might be an accident. But when conflict repeats across every continent, every organization, and every relationship, we are forced to look at the only common denominator. Welcome to an analysis of the pattern of rifts and the lesson on the price of ingratitude in the media age. Chapter 1. The British royal family, from the golden ticket to victimhood tactics. Let's start with the most significant milestone, Meghan's entry into the British royal family. To be fair, we must acknowledge that entering a thousand-year-old institution is a massive psychological challenge for anyone. But at the same time, we must look at the reality of a national investment. A wedding costing over £30 million, a multi-million-dollar haute couture wardrobe, and a world-class advisory team mobilized solely to serve the emergence of a new member. This wasn't just a welcome, it was an extraordinary privilege granted to an actress who had never before stood at the center of global political power. However, in subsequent interviews, all these privileges were described by Meghan as a golden cage. She spoke of being stripped of her passport, being abandoned, and being restrained. Here, a contradiction begins to emerge. How can someone feel silenced while standing on the most powerful media platform in the world? Ingratitude, from a branding perspective, is the denial of all the resources that created your current status. Meghan left, carrying the title of Duchess, an invaluable intangible asset, yet used that very title to attack the institution that bestowed it upon her. When gratitude is replaced by public grievances on global television, the public begins to wonder, is the problem with the system? Or with an individual who never feels like they have enough? The contrast between a nation opening its arms and an individual feeling mistreated is the first rift in the pattern of ingratitude. Chapter 2. Discarding the giants, when billion-dollar opportunities are branded as shackles. If the divorce from the monarchy could be explained by cultural clashes, then Meghan's relationship with streaming empires like Netflix and Spotify tells a different story of ingratitude in business. Let's look at the facts. An actress and a prince, with zero experience in large-scale content production, were handed contracts worth $100 million and $20 million, respectively. In the entertainment world, this isn't a standard investment, it's an incredibly generous gamble based on their celebrity status. These corporations didn't just hand over cash, they gave Meghan the best production teams, state-of-the-art studios, and access to the most powerful figures on the planet. Yet, what was the result after 2 years? A podcast series with only 12 episodes and an animated project cancelled due to lack of viability. In the business world, when you receive massive investment but fail to deliver proportional results, the first response should be humility and gratitude toward the partner who believed in you. But once again, the old script repeated itself. Instead of showing appreciation for the opportunity, Meghan's camp leaked narratives suggesting that Netflix was too cautious, and Spotify lacked the vision to fully grasp her ideas. The climax of this rift came when Spotify's top executive, Bill Simmons, felt compelled to call them fucking grifters to describe their professional conduct. The ingratitude here lies in this: you accept privileges far beyond your actual capabilities. Yet when things fail, you blame the very person who gave you the chance. In Meghan's media matrix, there seems to be no room for the words failure or sorry. Every fallout must be someone else's fault. And every partner, no matter how powerful, is merely a pawn in her quest to assert a contradictory independence. This is a stark lesson in burning every bridge, when you take the help of empires for granted and respond with grievances when ambitions aren't met. You isolate yourself from the world of professional handshakes. Chapter 3. The stepping stone, friends. When kindness becomes a scapegoat for personal branding. After observing the rifts with major institutions, we must look at a more relatable yet revealing aspect of ingratitude: personal friendships. In high society, a lasting friendship is built on absolute loyalty and privacy. True friends are those who shelter you when you have nothing and keep your secrets when you have everything. However, Meghan Markle's ascent to the top has been marked by a long list of former friends left behind as soon as they no longer serve her brand. Consider the case of Jessica Mulroney, once considered her twin flame. The person who managed every detail of the royal wedding and shielded Meghan from media storms. Yet, following a single personal scandal involving Jessica, Meghan cut ties instantly. No explanation, no public support for her best friend. In Meghan's PR matrix, a friend in trouble is a threat to the pristine image she is cultivating. Here, ingratitude is disguised as protecting one's values. The story with the Beckhams is even more staggering. David and Victoria gave Meghan everything a friend could offer, from lending luxury homes for retreats and providing free designer wardrobes to using their personal prestige to vouch for her in the UK. And the response to such generosity? An accusation from Meghan's camp that the Beckhams were leaking stories to the press. A baseless charge aimed at a couple renowned for their discretion and elite standing. When we examine these events, a clear pattern of social climbing emerges. Friends are not kindred spirits, they're steps on a ladder to climb. Once a new height is reached, the old steps are not just left behind, they are kicked away to ensure no one can reference her past. Ingratitude in friendship is the bitterest kind, as it betrays trust and pure kindness. In Meghan's world, it seems every relationship is transactional. When the transactional value expires, the friendship terminates. This poses a major question for the audience. Can you truly believe in calls for compassion and kindness from someone with a history of coldly erasing those who once uplifted her? Chapter 4. The support staff, silent victims and the true price of service. There is a famous saying in business: if you want to know the character of a person, watch how they treat those who can do nothing for them. In Meghan Markle's case, we must look at those who work directly under her, the media experts, the assistants, and her most loyal protectors. A global personal brand can only stand with a powerful logistics team behind it. Yet, the Sussex's office holds a dismal record in human resources. More than 12 top-tier professionals have departed in just a few years. In the professional PR world, this number is not a coincidence, it is a bright red flag indicating a toxic work environment. Those who left were not amateurs, they were seasoned media wizards, who had served heads of state and multinational corporations. They came to Meghan to salvage a faltering reputation. But what they received in return was burnout and shifting blame. The term, the Sussex Survivors Club, didn't emerge out of thin air. It was coined by employees who felt treated as pawns in their employers' flawed PR campaigns. The minimum gratitude towards silent collaborators is respect and understanding. However, in Meghan's matrix, when a press statement backfires or an image fails to achieve the desired effect, the blame consistently falls on the execution team rather than the decision-maker. Ingratitude here is most evident in the lack of recognition. These employees worked 24/7 to shield Meghan from public scrutiny. Yet when they departed, no words of sincere appreciation were offered. Instead, there was cold silence or rumors of their incompetence. Once again, the pattern repeats. Meghan constantly preaches compassion and kindness to the world, yet faces allegations of bullying those who serve her within her private space. When one employee leaves, it might be a personal issue. But when an entire elite team flees one by one, the only common denominator can be no one but the person at the top. Ingratitude toward employees, those who traded their professional reputations to protect yours, is the hardest rift to heal. It reveals an ego so large that the help of others is taken for granted. And every mistake requires a scapegoat. Conclusion: the price of isolation at the top. We have journeyed through a landscape filled with rifts, from the world's most powerful institutions and billion-dollar corporations to loyal friendships and dedicated staff. Individually, each event could be explained away as a misunderstanding or an accident. But when we look at the big picture, a single, undeniable common denominator emerges: Meghan Markle herself. Ingratitude is not just an emotional flaw in the world of the elite. It is a brand suicide. Meghan has chosen to transform conflict into a grievance economy, where she profits from recounting pain and perceived injustices. But there is a harsh reality: this economy only survives as long as you have villains to blame. When you have burned every bridge, when former partners choose a dignified silence and old friends step back, what is left? The price of ingratitude is isolation at the peak of self-created glamour. Meghan may have achieved the freedom she longed for, but it is an empty freedom without the solid foundations that once supported her. The public may be drawn to temporary drama, but long-term trust is reserved for those who appreciate the opportunities and the hands that help them reach success. Ultimately, grace is not a buzzword to preach in speeches. It is how you treat those who walked with you through the difficult stretches of the journey. In observing Meghan's pattern, we learn a vital lesson: you can use conflict to generate attention, but you can only use gratitude to build a legacy. Glamour may fade, and contracts may end, but the way you leave remains forever in the minds of others. And for Meghan Markle, the pattern of rifts may be the saddest legacy she is currently writing for herself. Thank you for joining me in this deep dive. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe in the misunderstood victim narrative? Or have you recognized the pattern of ingratitude? Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our next truth-seeking analysis.